Hi, Brian. I'm Sue Mayo. I'm here to talk about professional dispositions with you. I feel like I do possess all 10, maybe some greater than others. So let's go through those. High expectations. When I was in the classroom, I definitely feel like I wanted to set my goals very high for my students and I expected them to perform. However, I did that in a very friendly, caring way where I would want to get to know my students' interests because I felt like they knew mine. I did a theme every year in my classroom based on an actor that I liked. So they felt like they connected with me in some way just by coming into my room because they saw something, a piece of me right away. Um, Respecting and the diversity of others, I feel like I embrace that by sending out surveys and getting to know their families and by understanding the different cultures that they were coming from. This might be a little more difficult doing when you're teaching in the classroom because if you have more than 25 students and getting to know all their families and all their backgrounds, it could take some time. The next one being fairness. I think that this is probably one that I'm very strong with. I would set my classroom up that we would talk about fair isn't always equal and you get what you need in here. I would do a little lesson with them using my glasses, having a student come up who didn't have glasses on and saying how we would get what we need. I needed glasses, she didn't, but that is still fair. Um, I feel like my professional conduct is something that I pride myself on. I'm committed to teaching all my students in my classroom. And I felt that I would pride myself on the fact that I communicated that very clearly to my students and my colleagues. I think that's probably something you develop when you're teaching a little longer than I've been teaching for 25 years now. So I feel like that's something that I would probably say that I've developed maybe a little later in my career. The same thing with this next one, reflection. I think that's a little more challenging to do in the beginning of your career because you're still learning how to teach. Whereas now I could really go back and reflect and see, well, how can I improve on my practice? I modeled that enough in my room that I feel like my students were very good at reflecting because I would approach it as, you know what, after reflecting on my lesson and seeing how we closed, I feel like I need to go back and redo something because we didn't hit that mark. And that was something that my students would see that I would do often. So they would learn how to reflect. Curiosity, I find that as I am a teacher and an educator, I'm very curious. I'm always looking to do better. But as a teacher, that can sometimes be difficult on getting your students to ask those high order questions. So you really want to encourage them to doing that by giving them sentence stems and encouraging them to want to dig deeper into each other's conversations. That's probably more challenging. And that's something I think you develop as you are teaching longer, or you just develop it by doing it more often. Honesty, I think this is a little difficult when you are starting out and still can be difficult at times when you're trying to be honest with each other, your colleagues, trying to give advice. And my new role as master teacher, sometimes you have to really go through the channels of getting to have that respect and rapport with a teacher before you can be that honest with them. And that is still something I would say I'm working on. Um, However, I do feel like I was very honest with my students, and I think they saw that and they were developing honesty with me. Compassion, I feel like I definitely have. That's why I think I'm in this role as master teacher. I do have compassion for my staff and I have compassion for my students. And they saw that I was genuinely interested in them. And I think my staff thinks that I'm genuinely interested in them. That's why I became a master teacher. I think that I took time to converse with my colleagues and my students. And I think that's something that I probably do best. I advocate for my staff. That's why I think I'm in this master teacher role as well. I really can speak to my principals and my administration in a very honest way. And I think that my students would see that because that they saw that I would get what they needed. Dedication. I think that I am very dedicated. I'm 25 years in. I still love what I do. I'm always looking to develop better practices and learn. And I feel like I am active in participating with my staff and my teachers in developing best practices. That's why I think that this role as master teacher is really best suited for me because I do feel like I am someone who it will consistently want to do better. So there you have it. Those are the 10 professional dispositions. Although I do feel like I meet all of them, I think I'm better at some than others. And I think that that is something that I will continue to reflect on. So thank you and have a great day.